Continue. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. I hope you had a good lunch. My name is Helen Aaremäe-Saar, and today I will be moderating our panel, and we are going to talk about NIS2 in real life. Well, I'm from Estonian Internet Foundation, and my background is in law and regulation. And over the past few years, I have been leading our Estonian NIS2 implementation journey. I don't know how many of you know what NIS2 is about. Can you raise your hands? Oh, well, even. That's good. I didn't know what the audience will be really exactly. Anyway, NIS2 is EU cyber security law, kind of, and it's second coming. It's created to make networks and information systems safer across all member states. So, and it sets kind of like common standards in the IT field, strengthening the cooperation and increases accountability. But it also affects like really a lot of different sectors, like family doctors, even logistics, energy, electric vehicle charging, and also natural persons, us, to protect us, basically. It's the aim of it. But it also covers domain industry. Article 28 is something that will affect all of us in the industry. And it's about the fact that it's mandatory to collect and verify accurate registration data, which includes phone numbers, email address. So, and it's also about to make our sector efficient and secure. So today we're going to explore the field, and before we start, I will introduce our panelists as well. We have here Asta and Mineike, and she's from Eurid. Eurid has around 3.7 million domain names. You manage quite a big registry. But Asta is a support and operation manager, and she has been in the field almost 20 years. And she's also Lithuanian, and she tells about NIS2 that it's necessary but demanding. And if you don't find her reading NIS2, you can find her maybe in the forest picking mushrooms. We have here Sascha Kämpf, and he is from Germany. He's from DENIC registry, and DENIC has over 17 million domain names. I mean, that's huge. In Estonia, we have like 179,000 domain names. Sascha works as a product manager, and he has been in the field 25 years, quite a long time. He sees NIS2 as a part of EU's approach for growing regulation. And a lighter note, when he's not managing millions of domain names, you may find him in his garden playing ukulele. And that's probably, I would say, the healthiest way after reading NIS2. And our third panelist is Urmo. And Urmo Keskel has worked in the field of electronic identity for over 18 years. And he's the guy who helped to develop in Estonia our famous mobile ID, Smart ID, and now he's co-funding the cybersecurity startup Phishbite. And it helps companies to reduce cyber risks through employee awareness. And you already want to know what's the fun fact about him. And he tells about himself that he was in one technical cybersecurity, teaching cybersecurity, I understand? You are teaching cybersecurity as well.
Yes, and, in our company we are doing cybersecurity trainings for employees. So, yeah.
Yeah, and he accidentally accepted a Facebook friend called Rita Ray. And that's the proof that we are all human and we can make mistakes. So.
and I was sending the information for my daughter who is musical that look how she's doing marketing. And then my daughter was saying that it's a scam.
Anyway, before we start, you can see that we have QR code on the panel, so you can ask questions. And before we start, I have a question for you. So please find our Mentimeter. And the first question is about when you hear cybersecurity regulation, like NIS2, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? So while you are answering, I'm starting with our panelists and the questions. NIS2 has been a long time coming, and now it's becoming real. Each registry has turned abstract rules to real processes. So Asta, I will turn to you first. Eurid operates all across Europe, 27 countries, and you have all kinds of different legal and linguistic aspects that you have to fulfill. What are the main challenges and opportunities you have seen in the implementing NIS2 across different member states?
Good afternoon, everyone. I think from Eurid's perspective, I would like to bring firstly that we have been doing data verifications from the beginning, almost from the beginning of the launch of the .eu, so already for 20 years, because it was a part of our framework. So we started very early with very manual processes that were developed and went through different transitions. We have so when NIS2 came and was adopted in Belgium. Belgium was one of the first countries that actually adopted or transposed NIS2 into the legislation. We were already ready with the data validation because we were already doing it for a while. And then at the same time, we as well launched a more automated platform to actually handle higher number of verifications. So for us, NIS2 was not a surprise because we were partially ready. So we had to do very few changes that were affecting our registrar community, like not allowing transfers of a domain name, which is currently being under the validation process. So as one of the which would be one of the smaller changes that were implemented.
Okay, thank you. But do you see, like, when we're seeing the questions here, like, do you see it's more paperwork and bureaucracy?
Not within the validation procedures, because we have a number of automated ways to validate the user, but at the same time, if we talk about verification process itself, we cannot go away from the one of the very well used document evidence based verification method, which we would like to remove completely, but this is not. So yes, still not more, the same amount.
We will dig into that later. Yeah. So I will turn to Sascha now. You at DENIC, how do you see, like, when it comes to NIS2, are you making small changes or big changes?
I guess it's probably the biggest change for our registrars, even bigger than the introduction of the GDPR 7 years ago. So a lot of fundamental processes will change and also impact not only the registrars, but also the registrants alike.
Okay, thank you. And Urmo, you are from the cyber security point of view. What happens when regulations moves faster than technical readiness? Where do you see the biggest implementation gaps now, like with NIS2 maybe, or may lie?
I believe that the slides will illustrate my answer pretty well. That I think regarding the legislation, the issue is that often lawyers and who are making the law are trying to put too many things there and to make it too complicated, and this is messing it up. And actually, yeah, we have to mitigate risk. We have to have common rules for how to operate and how to verify. But I see it so often that there are regulated too much and too many details. And this is the reason, not about that the technical readiness is there, but rather we would like to achieve too much at the same time. So there rather should be some better timeline to implement those changes, and I would say less is better, because otherwise we see it like paperwork and bureaucracy and not the real value of those new legislations.
Okay. The thing with NIS2, the biggest change that I see is that it like kind of encourage the field to start using electronic IDs, but it's not mandatory. But at the same time, Article 27 says that the domain registrant information must be accurate and like valid. So it's kind of like mixed up. It must be accurate, the name, but they encourage you to use EID. So what's your feeling about that aspect, Asta?
Yes, I think in general, when we talk about accurate data, there is not many methods that we have currently available that can actually say that the data is valid or accurate. So first of all, we start just looking at the data as we can say visually looks valid. The address exists. The person maybe lives there. And then, yes, they can maybe use the EIDAS to validate, but in the end, we don't really know if the data is accurate, valid, or the person exists.
Okay, we will dig that into. Sascha, how do you feel about that aspect?
Yes, first of all, we are not verifying on the registry level, but we leave verification to our registrars, and we leave them a wide variety of options with which they can verify the registrant data. EID as well, but we are Germans, we love paperwork. I mean, the EID adoption in Germany is just around 40% at the moment, but we also allow that, and we also allow other digital possibilities like online payment and online actually company register extracts. So we allow paper methods or classical methods as well as digital methods or photo ident and video ident.
So how you at DENIC like validate then your customer?
We actually, when you register a domain or when you update a domain or transfer a domain, then we actually have a risk assessment process. And based on the risk score, we require a verification from the registrar. And then the registrar has to verify the registrant and submit verification information to us. But just metadata, like the document through which the person has been identified and the method. But we only store the metadata itself, so we have no personal data that we store in addition to the contact data. With the exception of phone, which we discarded 7 years ago with the GDPR, because we had no use case, and now we have to bring it back because of NIS2.
So it's kind of like your customer communicates with registrar rather than with you.
Yes, because usually the registrar is the first point of contact. And the idea is also if the registrar verifies, he can use the same verification information or the same methods potentially for other registries. So if the customer registers a .de or a .it domain and require verification, they could even submit the verification information to another registry because they have verified the registrant and then are in possession of the relevant data.
Okay. Thank you. That's the idea of the NIS2 actually, is that it doesn't only like change how you manage your data, it also changes users' experience, how they are experiencing our services now. So too much verification can create frustration, that's understood, but also too little can destroy trust. So I have another second question to the audience, and it's about when you verify your identity online, for example, when registering a domain name or signing up a new service, what matters most of you as a user when you use the new service? And while you're answering, I would like to turn to Urmo and ask, you helped to design Smart ID and also Mobile ID. So you are part of a service that managed to be both secure and widely trusted. For example, Estonians use a lot of like Smart ID to verify themselves for different services. What made users adopt it so easily, and what lessons can we take from that to the domain registration field?
Okay. Yeah. When I joined the company, SK ID Solutions, then I think we had on that moment around 3,000 ID card users in Estonia who have used their ID card electronically, and we were thinking that what we could make to make the users to use it. And actually the real thing what changed the game. There were two things. One was that legislation regarding the banks, that you cannot not make the payments of not having the strong identity. So it was basically enforcement of no possibility to use alternatives. And another was, because there were those password cards used before quite widely in Estonia, and also PIN calculators or PIN generators, and banks just started to reduce or limiting the amount of payments what you can make. This was the one thing, and another thing was different awareness campaigns of explaining that what are the risks and promoting the technology. But regarding the smart ID, the usage patterns were already there. So mobile ID was used quite widely, also ID card, and basically the user experience was better compared to the other tokens. And then it was quite easy to roll it out, and also the issuance process was easier. Regarding the smart ID, you didn't have to go to the bank office. Okay, there was possibility to get it from the bank office or police and border guard as well, but there were other alternatives to get it digitally. So it was about the usability as well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, for example, like to have a kind of understanding how Estonians use smart idea is that you can go to the food store and buy and shop alcohol. And if you don't want to communicate with a seller at shop, you can use a food store app and put your PIN too, which is like you confirm your identity when you buy alcohol. It's like when you use the self-service at the food store. So it's like kind of, for me, it's like so simple now, like how you verify a person behind the screen. And it's like we can show, like seen from the answers also, that make it fast and easy, verify once and don't overcomplicate. So I would like to ask Eurid from Asta, like how do you, like you have like kind of like small businesses and big organizations, you have a lot of different customers from all across Europe. How do you make validation feel trustworthy but not overwhelming? How you feel like your customers, how do you validate and your customers give you your feedback?
Yes, I think for us, first of all, what we would like is to see that registrars actually provides us with accurate and up-to-date data. So we actually only check on a detection base, so if there is a suspicious registration. At the same time, the amount of registrations we are still performing is very high, and even if we have 5 verification or methods to verify your identity.
Give an example of.
So what we currently we are using eIDAS. We have as well SMS MRZ. We have 2 bank money transfers in and out you can do, and then we as well accept a credit card verification, which has the lowest assurance level. But we see that this is currently one of the most used, but it doesn't really give you any actual data back when you use that. So eIDAS would be the preferred option to verify. But if we go back to the discussion and of different type of customers, so if we have we count around 70% of our customers are businesses, and then for businesses there is still not a good way to verify. So we do accept that that a contact person can verify the identity of the company, but it's not easy. And since we are operating with so many countries, so if you are only working with or mostly working with one market, so for example for Sweden, who just recently the business registry center just opened a registry center, so a registry can actually use the business registry to cross-check data. For us, this is not, we never will be able to cross-check 27 countries' organizations, if organization that is entered is correct or inaccurate.
And this cross-check, it's after or before registering domain name?
I think what they see now, they should talk for themselves. I think it's after that what they are doing an additional checks. For us, we do some. we don't do the checks before, but we do stop some of the registrations with we have the APUs tool that is detecting and then not delegating a domain name to the zone if it was seen as suspicious. But then most of our checks are done after registration, like all of them actually after the registration is just if the name servers are attached or not to the domain name.
In Estonia, it's actually quite different. At .ee, we do the verification before registering domain name. And for us, NIS2 implementation has been quite nothing new, because we have been using Estonian ID card for registering domain name since we were established 2010. So it has been quite a long time. But what we saw was problematic is that how you verify foreign users, foreign registrants. So this is in 2015, when .ee was available to everybody in the market in the world, we found that PayPal verified was one option that users can use, like registrars can use. But now we understand it's not efficient either. So around 2019, there was like nothing good in the field, and we started developing our own product. And this is how actually EEID was developed, and to verify our own foreign registrants. And we also use and EEID is like the product that puts together all kind of national and international verification models. Like Belgium use CSAM, they can use it through EEID, or Swedish use Freya, I know. Yeah. So, but if this national verification method isn't in the list, there is another option to use Verif. And Verif is based on AI decision making, but still, Verif is like widely used by Estonian government. Notaries use it, banks use it. So this is where the trust comes, and it contains 230 or even more different kind of countries, ID cards, licenses, car licenses. So through the mobile phone, you can verify yourself and get the domain in the end. And now we have developed it through our, for the registrars, through our portal, so they can use it freely to register domain names. We see now with the NIS2 coming in force next year in Estonia, how it will be in real life. Today we see it's quite effective and registrars are using it. Are you thinking as a registry side doing something for the registrars, or how you help them to verify domain name?
Like I said, we just leave them a wide option that they can choose, and I think they have implemented some processes anyway to verify. For example, a lot have like online payment or bank payment, so they can use that information. But we wanted to give them the utmost flexibility and not just limit them. I think that's the best support actually that we can give.
Okay. But do you see like a problematic part is like having this multiple or double data collected by you and by registrar? Because what I saw from Denmark, last Jamboree event, they told that at Denmark they are collecting data from registrants, and also they are and cyber security parties that criminals started to use Danish registry name, sending an email out, please confirm that's you, through the email, you know, but it was like kind of like mixed and scam. And what I see now is like the problem here is that when you're registering domain name, users are usually asked to provide like email addresses, phone numbers, and some cases as registry and registrar, different levels are asking the same questions, the same email addresses, the same data. We are like multiple times asking the same thing. There are kind of like a lot of different cybersecurity risks coming now on board. How do you see, Urmo, like asking like double data from different points?
Yeah,
the same reason.
I think in general, we as humans are overloaded of the different information, and different things are popping up, and we're getting so many emails, and usually when something is more or less relevant then they would like to get their domain working or not to lose it, and they are acting just. So it's a good scam scheme to use. Yeah.
I think it's also a bit of a challenge that in most cases the registrar talks to the registrant, and now registries talk to registrants, and the average registrant that has like a blog or whatever is not actually even aware that there is such a thing as a registry, because they only have the registrar. So they get an email from an entity that they have never heard of claiming a verification. I think that's going to be a bit of a challenge to raise the awareness actually for the registrants.
But
because there are also consequences in the end associated. If they don't react, we delete the domain, and this is going to be a challenge, I guess.
We have this challenge for many years of emails that we send to the end users asking them to verify with a deadline. If they are not going to follow our rules, the domain name is going to be suspended. So we do receive an angry calls and emails, and some people rightfully asking, like, who are you? Even if we worked a lot of trying to improve the communication, and now it's translated to all the languages to meet demands of all the European markets, but it's still like it's an email from entity that they have never heard of, and I would say that lately it's better than it's used to be, because now it's more common for people that registering domain name, and now in general it's more common that you have to identify yourself everywhere. In some countries, like in Sweden, we identify ourselves so many times during the day that you don't even think about it anymore. But anyway, it is a lot for end users to know who is sending email and why they're asking you to log into a specific portal, because all of this done is still in-house. We do verifications on risk-based checks in-house. And yeah.
So do you see like doing risk-based assessment is something that helps you avoid duplication and those kind of problems then? It can still be from a user point of view, I mean.
We can say that we don't do the checks if there is nothing wrong with your data. We don't really try to avoid any like checks with no reason. So usually there is some kind of we do suspect that this domain name is used for the abuse, and that's why the checks or the data visually and checked with we do check the addresses against the Deutsche Post, and if the address is completely nonsense, so those registrations are checked.
So, but those checks are made by Eurid or by registrar?
By Eurid.
By Eurid, so you also communicate with the end user then?
Yes, we are primary communicating, so we are the primary checkers of our data, our domain names.
Is there something in addition, Sascha, that at DENIC you are doing to avoid having unnecessary duplication through registrar and registry level?
I mean, it's not totally avoidable on the European level, but at least we try to leave it to registrars, so they actually have the single source. And I think that's better than if the registry is doing that, because in that case we have an application of data at least at the different registries, which is why we didn't want to have any data to begin with, but leave it to the registrar and just have the metadata with the verification information.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
And is there something in the industry, in addition, Urmo, that you can add here to avoid duplication and double checks?
I think I cannot comment that on in a general because it depends so much on specific application and the business and the regulation what is there. But in general, I believe that having a risk-based approach it makes sense, because there are different signals that will indicate that okay, this risk is higher and we have to do some additional checks or somehow to mitigate it, because even when using a strong identity, it doesn't mean that there cannot be a scam, because there are tankist, is it correct in English? who can be used, or somehow the identity can be stolen. So the risk is still there, even when the strong identity solutions are used. It's much lower, yes, definitely, and probably then the attacker will use some other register to get the domains from there, but still risk remains.
Yeah, and I mean, our field, like what's a good comparison here is that when, I don't know, what are popular like websites are like TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, everybody has their user there mostly, like youngest or older, whoever use their own, whatever they like. But how do they verify a person? When you think they don't have like strong verification, Facebook doesn't use Estonian or whatever EID to verify it's you really behind that user. They use what's like recommended is having two-factor authentication, you know. But what I was thinking in our field is like when you're registering .de, there is one like way. When you register .eu or .d, there's another way. Our field is quite fragmented.
From the user perspective, what I can comment is that when in a European level, when European domains, there is better rules and more security in a place regarding the validation, the applier of the domain or owner of the domain, then I believe it's good to say that if it's European domain, you can be more sure that it's not a scam, or it's one signal that probably it's okay. But if it's from Asia or some other region or US domain, then it may be more risky. So it's, and from the user perspective, it seems to me that it's going more and more complicated, even regarding the TLS certificates. By looking at who is the company there, I even cannot read it out because the company information is not anymore in TLS certificates. So what are how can we train the user to understand that who is the owner of that domain? It's not so easy anymore.
True story. They can use who is. It's one possibility. But what are like other risks that you, from the registry side, see that NIS2 bring to user friendliness and customer trust, like being fragmented markets around?
Yeah, I think from the risk perspective, what we were already talking, that different registries requires different types of checks, and then usually it's not registry that asks, but actually a government how they are adopted or transposed to NIS2. And as we can all see in the room, we have very different ways transposed in different countries. So the risks, we collect probably too much data, and to mitigate or how to do, there probably we should be looking in more cooperation and see if there is another way of validating a user across different TLDs. So GTLDs have this verification token that they use. So like a more centralized way to verify a user. So maybe Europe could go and look at something like that as well.
So we are like kind of like everlasting validation.
Yeah, or some shared validation or a token that could be shared across the CC-TLDs or all TLDs.
I chime in with Asta. I think that's a great idea. We've at least fast foreseen that we can support different trust frameworks. So in theory, we could say, okay, if Eurid verified that person, then that's good enough for us. I think we're not quite there yet, but that's hopefully the road ahead. And I think what's also challenges when we talk about NIS2, we always talk about negative things, fraud, fake shops, and the likes. And yes, that's why we have NIS2. That's all clear and good. But I think it is very important to raise awareness for registrants that we are not verifying them because they are bad actors, but we are doing that for more security on the net. So find a bit of a more positive language. Because I think if you say to registrants, we will verify you because we think you're fraud, that's not leaving a very good impression. So raising kind of awareness for the increased security. And in the end, after all, it is also an advantage for the registrant. He can always say, okay, I have been verified, I'm one of the good guys.
I think that by applying the domain and explaining that you don't want that someone else will get a similar domain to you and then you will scam your users. So maybe this will also help to understand that why actually you are doing those things, and because actually it's protecting their users and their business.
Yeah, now we go into more cybersecurity, and our third question to the audience is about, would you be willing to share some personal data like your ID or passport information to make and help online verification stronger and reduce cyber fraud? Please answer. And while you're answering, NIS2 is here to stay. So it's for the big government, it's for the big companies and government, but also for everyday users. And actually, it's one of the things that NIS2 is always telling. It's to protect the end user in the field. When people think about domains, they usually think of websites. But domains are the foundation of online trust. If a bank domain fails, for example, or worse, like swedbank.ee is registered to a wrong person, the consequences are quite serious. So cybersecurity here is really important. Urmo, you are a cyber security expert in our panel, and you were designing Smart ID and Mobile ID. So how does strong user verification actually help to prevent scams, phishing, fake domains? Do you see this is the only answer, that we all, in the end, must use Smart ID and kind of strong identification and EID? Or there is some other solution?
Okay, a long question. Definitely it reduced the risks, and if we are looking to the statistics, then in Estonia there are less scams, but still phishing and things are happening because new technology can protect user for being foolish or tricked. So still the awareness of the people is important. This is one aspect there. And regarding of risks, there is always question that whose risk is it, and who is doing the risk evaluation. And for example, when issuing an identity to someone, like SK ID Solutions is doing, then basically the company itself is risking of his accreditation of while issuing a wrong identity, and this is the reason why it's so important to follow the legislation and the rules and have also the internal risk management procedures in a place. And for example, if you would like to get a Smart ID, you cannot do the digital verification, like if there is another vendor used by your passport and face while getting the first identity, because SK have been evaluated that for them this risk seems to be too big. But for example, SK competitor in a Belgian market, it's me, they are using this process and they are accepting this risk. So it's kind of the risk appetite for those two companies are different, and it's on company level to accept those risks.
So, but what do you see, like, is it better to prevent fraud before the service is used or after?
I would say that it's better before, because when you're looking to the area of cybersecurity and what's happening, the attacks and how things are automated, it's happening so much faster than before. The new domains are registered so fast that they are used for a short time frame, and then the next one is created, and it's moving faster and faster. And also regarding the security vulnerabilities, how they are found and used, the time frame are totally different compared to what was it 2 years ago, or the AI have been changed so much there.
So it's kind of like a conflict you see with answers. People are willing to share their email and phone numbers, but not strong ID.
Because it is a domain name is a consumer product, which is if it's not very expensive product. So if you just would like to use it buy it for your personal use or for your pictures, and then you have to go through many steps of verification, then maybe using some other platforms are more convenient. This is what we are facing for a customer, because if we are going to create a lot of different hurdles for them to get a product, they will maybe choose something else. So there has to be a balance from how much verification will we ask. And then, as Urmo was saying, we, at least as I feel as well, that registry, when we come in with the detection and starting the verification process, the domain name could be already used for fraud or abuse. So we stop it often too late.
So at Eurid, you're doing the risk assessment after the domain is registered?
We do both, actually. So we're trying to, we have a machine learning tool that is detecting suspicious registrations, and those are stopped before they are become active, and then we do the afterwards. So we would like to do more of this detection before, and not delegate then domain names to the zone.
Yeah, we do the same actually during the registration. When the risk assessment starts, if it's deemed high risk, then it is registered, but it is not delegated, so it's kind of the server hold and it's not active in the DNS.
So, yeah.
You mean by the delegation that there is no website or DNS
Exactly,
behind?
it's not in the DNS,
Yeah.
the domain is registered, so we don't reject the registration, but we make sure that it is not active in the DNS.
What's the time between going? You allow the domain to go live?
No, actually, if you register the domain and it is deemed high risk, then it is not going live ever until you submit verification information. And if you don't do that, then we'll delete the domain after 90 days.
Yeah. But how do you, like Sascha, then make sure that suspicious domains are checked properly without blocking the legitimate ones?
As well, we have actually, that's why we have that risk assessment process. So we have low risk, which is probably the majority that will just be processed as now. So we become active in the DNS, then we have the suspicious ones as well, and only those that we deem high risk will not be active in the DNS. And also I would like to agree with Asta and come back to sharing ID information or password information. I think what we want to do, and that's why we have that risk process, Eurid and DENIC both, we want to catch the bad guys, and they will probably not submit the password info. So even if we would have that list, we'd probably just have the information from the good guys, for which the risk assessment will mostly in the end say it's a low risk.
But if you find out that there is like suspicious domain, what will be done, like to verify the user behind?
Okay, if the domain is deemed suspicious, then we request a verification from the registrar. If that does not happen within 23 days, then we send a reminder to the registrar, and we also send an information to the registrant. And then after 7 additional days, so 30 days in total, we take the domain out of the DNS, it enters server hold for 90 days, and if we still don't get a verification, then it is deleted.
But can you give an example how you verify a person? Like, do they have to send you the passport, or did you have to go somewhere to verify themselves?
No, they actually have to verify at the registrar, and that depends on which method the registrar supports. So they can verify like the passport, or they can verify the ID, or do it via EID or online bank payment. And then they just tell us, okay, I have verified that person. They tell us the document, the method, a verification reference, and a timestamp. And then we delegate the domain again.
So Germans send their passports and ID cards to registrars.
Yeah, I don't want to say that that's our EID, but I think the German version of EID is take a picture of your ID and send it to your registrar.
Exactly. I mean, knowing Germans, you're really like functional, doing really like those kind of things. Are you good? Like, okay.
But indeed, most people are doing it. So like I said, EID is not really widely adopted in Germany. So sadly, that's still the case, that many send copies of their ID cards. But in case we do that, we just take a look at them and then we delete them because we don't want to store them for GDPR reasons, obviously.
And I mean, on one angle here is that actually, like in Estonia, we have this unified ID code. Every Estonian has their like ID code, you know. But I understand Germans, this is something like a top secret, and you don't share it that willingly.
What do you mean, the ID?
ID code. I mean, maybe you can, Urmo, talk more about it when you designed Smart ID, you told me something before that like it's hard to go to the German market because for them the ID code is something different than to us.
Yeah, in the Baltics, in Estonia and also in Baltics in general, we are using the ID code or personal code to identify persons. And by knowing the code, we know who is this person, but it's unique identifier used all over the system. So, but in some countries, I think in Germany, it's like a service-specific code what you are getting, and there is not such a unique number to identify a person, and then you cannot be sure that this person in one system or in one document, another document, that's actually the same person. But I think even in your case, it's not the problem because you need some evidences of who is the person, and if even the code is different or it's not so universal, it's not a problem because you have evidences, and if something went wrong, then you can, for police or whoever, can keep the data about what document was used. So it's not so big issue. But I think what will change here is there is a new regulation in the EID area, it's EIDAS2, and regarding the EIDAS2, by the end of next year, all member states should implement Eurid digital wallet.
Yes.
So like it's a universal digital identity solution. I personally believe that member states are not able to keep this timeline, at least most of the countries. Probably some of them will meet it, but it will change the knowledge and maybe also the situation, so that, for example, in Estonia, we don't see so much value of having this Eurid wallet coming on the market, but in some countries where don't have such a solution, not like we have a Smart ID and Mobile ID, then there is a value much bigger, and probably this is also one solution what you can use in the future. But not this year, not next year, probably also not the year after next year.
It's a EU project. It will take some 10 years or so.
Yeah, but I think what you were already saying, it's like since EIDAS is not, I think one of the third country of the European countries have not adopted EIDAS, and then digital wallet is kind of a build on top, like as an evolution of EIDAS. So this is already a seen problem, because first everyone needs to adopt the EIDAS, and then we will see how to benefit of digital wallet.
But what they are doing, okay, maybe we are going too deep to this EID area, but what they are doing different is that they are implementing now also some technical framework what the member states can use, but still to roll out the identity solution, each member states have to do their own stuff, and having the local legislation also, so it probably take a lot of time, like we see regarding the NIS2 as well.
True. But it would be a dream to have like one approach that's accepted by all of the European countries. So that's the dream that we all hope maybe one day will be in force. But going to and talking about more about AI, we heard that Eurid is using different kind of AI solutions, and as a risk assessment methodology, also DENIC, you are using it. And I would like to have a fourth question on the screen, and it's about automatization and AI. Would you trust AI to decide whether someone's identity verification is valid? And I understand it's quite common today that automatization and AI is used widely, but still, would you personally, how do you feel about it? How would you feel as a user knowing that your data is being constantly scanned and verified by algorithms? So this is my question to the panel as well. Eurid uses automated decisions for suspicious registrations, DENIC also. What role this automatization and AI play in cases of privacy concerns and false positive cases? Have you had some issues regarding?
Well, we're not really using AI, we're using machine learning, so we are not quite there. Just also to be on the safer side, we started with machine learning. We're having some false positive cases, of course, because within the risk of we factor different external and internal factors and look at the domain data. And also we have cases where the data is simply not correct or there are typos within, and it also counts to risk. But then again, we will not be able to avoid it, and especially address checking in some countries is very difficult. especially in those where we don't have many registrations, we will never be able to verify like 100% of the addresses in India or China or Japan. So false positives will be a part of the process, but we try to reduce them. But it's of course a balance, because you also don't want to have any false negatives and delegate domains that are then a high risk.
But do you have any human oversight also?
At the moment, where we are already doing the NIS2 legislation is not yet transposed into national law in Germany, but we're already running a bit of processes in the background to look at the data and talk to our registrars. So we try to improve it as much as we can, and we also plan an improvement after we go live. So we will not really have a human oversight, but we will check the data now and also audit the stuff and have a look and see how we can improve our risk assessment process.
And Eurid, how is it with you?
For us, we have as well AI, but machine-based learning. I know, losing words. And it's used for the detection. And this process is completely automated. We don't have any oversight of what machine detects. It goes directly to the system, and then domain name is stopped for verification and then released after if it was verified. If it's not, it's been suspended and then deleted at the end. So this part is automated mostly, so we don't see that. It's hard to say if we see many false positives, because we are talking mostly about the newly registered domain names, because I think that we can all agree that there is smaller, like the issues for the end user who just registered the domain name and is not using yet, and is asked to be to verify it. It's like they are not working yet. The problem is if we start using the AI-based solutions for already existing registrations, and then domain names that are actually actively used, and then we can probably see if we can trust and how much false positives there are. But as for most we are doing on the new registrations, we see that it's we would like our tool to actually do more checks than because we have as well another semi-manual check that is done as well with some supervision of a person that as well detects suspicious registrations.
Interesting. I mean, it's quite a big scale of data that you both manage in your registry in order to understand whether there is any risk or not with that domain name. What do you see, Urmo, in that side, like with using automatization and AI, the biggest cybersecurity risks may be or may lie?
I would say that AI is helping a lot, because also humans are making mistakes. So for the humans, we believe that it's okay that sometimes mistakes are happen, but when the AI is making mistakes, then it's your problem. So actually both are making mistakes, and it's understanding that where are those mistakes and how to double check those mistakes, or use some other technology or human to mitigate those risks.
So AI can actually help us to prevent fraud.
Yes. And it helps also frauders.
I probably would think that AI could help us with, especially to detect if the domain name is in use, if what type of the website it is, if they could actually provide already information and then a score if this domain name or website actually or email is used for a fraud. That would be great.
I mean, yeah, we don't have any statistics like how many mistakes a human can make and AI can make or do.
It depends on so much what is the task there. So
cybersecurity side, I mean. Like
even in cybersecurity, there are so many.
Is this person valid? And
we can maybe compare a simple task of understanding this is a suspicious email regarding the phishing, and I would say there definitely a machine is much better compared to the human. So, but yeah, it depends what is the task what we're talking about.
I think where AI could be helpful is in seeing changes in registration behavior, because once all registries introduce verification processes, then probably the bad actors will kind of change their strategy, and to find out how they change the strategy is a bit of a challenge, but potentially I could help there.
I agree, totally. I mean, our product also, Verif, that we're using, it's based on decision making. Verif uses AI in order to make sure whether this person is alive and existing or not. So, but they have like huge kind of data behind, and they have.
The deepfake technology is also developing quite fast, and those vendors who are providing this technology, like Verif, they are also using other techniques to mitigate this. For example, the vendor what we are using is doing some flashing on a screen while doing the face detection, and then they are looking back from the camera that the flashing colors are in the same order from the face coming back. That it's not the deep fake what is shown there. So it's just one technique what could be used, and I would say that it's continuous progress of implementing the security measures, and also the attackers are trying to find new ways to trick it. So.
I agree. So when we look ahead to future, we a little bit talked about EU wallet and what's the aim of that behind. But where do you see in like where this validation and verification goes with NIS2? What's your dream?
Yeah, I would say my dream is that things are simple to use and secure. Yeah, so what I really like about is the Apple Pay payments. It's easy to use and it's secure, and I'm getting notification when my bank to my phone when my bank is used. So it's kind of, I feel that my risks are mitigated, and I don't want to go to make an internet payment by entering PIN 1, PIN 2, and whatever else. The Apple Pay is convenient and it's secure, and I hope that we have in future more such services.
What about you, Asta and Sascha?
No, I'm very much sharing Urmo's dreams on a daily basis, almost. And I think as well for me, simple, secure, but as well that it doesn't require so much operational work behind to maintain it, because at the registry level there is still we need to maintain human resources and then tools and technologies to actually make this so less of so technologies that are easy to use in-house as well. So because we can build more things, but this is as well have some costs to run it, to hire people to check things. So less of operations would be my dream too.
Before Sascha, you answer, please put on the screen our last question to the audience. It's the same question actually. How do you think now, after hearing about security and simplicity, is security first, simplicity first, or the answer is a balance? And Sascha, the floor is yours.
No, I just want to chime in with Asta and Urmo. I agree, because I think the more complicated or complex the process is, the less chance it will have to have a successful adoption. As we see with the EID in Germany, 40%, and it took us, I don't know how many years to get to 40%, so that's not very high to begin with.
Okay, thank you all. Is there any question from the audience? We'll check. No? Okay, thank you for all. I mean, today it seems both the room and the panelists agreed that a balance, security, but still user-friendly. Let's hope that it will be the future. Thank you all for coming and for listening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And, yeah.
So thank you to the panelists, and now we move on. I think nowadays it seems that whenever we talk about tech and adoption of tech and innovation and developments, at least in the European Union, the other half of the sentence is regulation, and it concerns everything we heard about cloud. Of course, it's about AI and the AI Act and everything else, and also in the domain landscape also. So now, Polina, you are ready to come on stage and share what is happening, what's here, and what might be coming.
Thank you very much for a kind introduction, and it's also very nice to follow an excellent panel that was talking already about one of the biggest EU regulations that are affecting the domain name industry. So yeah, I'm happy to be here. I'm Polina. I'm also very thankful for the Estonian Internet Foundation for bringing me home to my home country. So I'm extremely happy to be here and give that overview to you today. But I'm based in Brussels, so yeah, and I work at Centre, and I will tell you a little bit in a few moments what is Centre and why I am the one telling you about the EU regulation today. So yeah, let's just get it started. So first, who is Centre? So we are the Association of European Country Code Top-Level Domain Registries, such as .de for Estonia, .lv for Latvia, .lt for Lithuania. And yeah, so we have currently 54 and 8 associate members. So overall, let's say Centre community, Centre membership, together with associate members, are responsible for around 80% of all registered domain names worldwide. And we also have observer community as well. So these are our friends at friendly organizations and partners at RIPE-NCC, ICANN, and also the European Commission. So yeah, our objective as Centre is to get members together, get CCTOD